So this morning I want to begin by wishing a good morning to all of our visitors and guests who are here, probably visiting mom or grandma or whatever. It's good that you're here. It's good to begin your celebrations of Mother's Day by coming to Mass and celebrating with mom, grandma, or whoever. As we gather, I just need to make a note here. Good. I was thinking about just how busy our place is on any given day and weekend. But yesterday was really an extraordinary day here because we started with a funeral. At midday, around 1:30, we had a wedding. And then around 4:30, we had a regular Mass, but that Mass had a baptism and First Communion at it as well. So we had a lot going on. And a lot of people ask, how do you keep all that stuff straight, Father? And the key is to just be in the moment. But I have to say that there was a scary moment yesterday at the wedding. Now, many of you maybe at funerals or weddings realize that I try to coach people throughout. So I'll say, let us stand and pray, or let's kneel for the Eucharistic prayer. And when it comes to communion time, I have a kind of comment about Holy Communion. I'd say, for those who are prepared and accustomed to receiving communion in the Catholic Church, you're invited to come forward in the center aisle receiving the body of our Lord, and there will be cups with the precious blood. And the second thing I say is, if you're not prepared or accustomed to receiving communion in the Catholic Church, but still would like to come forward asking God's blessing, you can keep your hands over your heart and we'll extend God's blessing to you. And then the third thing I usually say is, you may prefer to remain in your pew, and as you do so, and for a funeral I say, as you do so, you might want to pray for Bill and those who mourn his loss. And for a wedding, I usually say, as you stay in the pews, you might want to pray for Allie and Christopher as they begin their married life. Well, yesterday I was that close to saying at the wedding, if you remain in your pews, you might want to pray for Allie and Christopher and those who mourn their loss. That close. I caught myself, though. So true. As I was thinking about this weekend, I was reminded about a young priest who was having some difficulty preaching, and the bishop of the diocese came to him and he said, you need to begin your homilies with a story. Wake people up, get their attention. Come to my Mass next Sunday and I'll show you how it's done. And so the next Sunday the bishop was in his cathedral and he stood up and began to preach. And he started his homily like this. I have something to tell all of you. I'm in love with a beautiful woman. And he paused for effect and then continued. Her name is the Blessed Virgin Mary. So the young priest went back to his parish, having learned the lesson, he thought. The following Sunday he gets up to preach, and he notices that the bishop is in the back of church, standing there ready to listen to him. And the poor priest got nervous and launched into his homily. He said this, the bishop is in love with a married woman, but I can't remember her name. Oh, great story. Well, we know that her name is Mary, the Blessed Virgin Mary, the wife of St. Joseph and the mother of Jesus. And today, on this Mother's Day weekend, not only is it Mother's Day, but we celebrate the Blessed Virgin Mary as well during this month of May. And yesterday, we know that it was an extraordinary day in the life of Mother Church because it was the feast day of Our Lady of Fatima. 100 years ago, yesterday, May 13th, 1917, Mary appeared to 3 shepherd children in a field outside of Fatima, Portugal, to bring peace to the world, a message of peace, of love, and of encouragement for us to turn back to her Son. And yesterday during Mass, Pope Francis gave the Church a beautiful gift of 2 more saints for us. The 2 youngest children, the one who is 7 and 9, were canonized and made saints. And that gift to us reminds us of how important the Blessed Virgin Mary truly is for our lives. And we know that this 100th anniversary of Our Lady of Fatima is connected to all of those moments when the Blessed Mother had come to us and has been with us. And we know that these visions, these apparitions, have occurred especially in times when the world is in great trouble. Whether it's World War I or II, the mass genocide in Rwanda, all of these places where Blessed Mother has appeared have been troubled spots. And I think when we realize that she comes to us with a compassionate heart, a heart that wants to see us at our best, humanity at our best. And so Fatima, we know, has grown to be a pilgrim site for Catholics throughout the world, and more than 5,000 people visit Fatima a year. Many of these pilgrims crawling on their knees in the last yards to the shrine of Blessed Mother there. And so Mother's Day, being in May, is not surprising, and by no coincidence, we have the celebration of our Blessed Mother during Mother's Day month. And I think about how the impact of Mary, our Mother, is something which affects Catholics and non-Catholics alike. And I always like to remind people, and you know this, but it's good to remind ourselves, that as Catholics, we don't worship Mary. She's not a goddess or a being that's different than our human being. But what we do is honor her. She's first among the saints of heaven and queen of heaven and earth because of what Jesus wanted to do for his mother and giving her a great gift of honor as well. And when we say that we honor Mary, we invite ourselves to come to Jesus through her. And it's kind of, to be simple, it's when we go to her main mission now in life is to bring us to her Son. And when we think about that, Jesus was the one who gave Mary as the gift to us. He did this even in the last moments of his earthly life as he hung upon the cross. He turned to John the disciple and said, "Here is your mother," and to Mary, "Here is your son." And from that time on, Mary has been our mother, the mother of the church, the people of God, and in a special way, our own mother. And as we celebrate that gift, then at that moment, she began a new mission in life to bring those people to her Son. And when we think about it then, as we honor Mary, we realize she has particular influence over us in our lives, just as she has influence over her Son. And that influence, I think, is best seen in the wedding feast at Cana, right? Jesus' first miracle, where they're at this wonderful wedding, and Troubles are brewing because we're running out of wine, right? And Mary's there, and she comes to Jesus, and she says that very thing. We're running out of wine. And he says, woman, what is this concern of mine? And then she turns to the waiter and says, do what he tells you to do. And those words, do what he tells you to do, those words echo throughout now salvation history. And sure enough, Jesus went ahead, influenced by his mother, went ahead and told the waiter to get those jars filled with water, which he turned into wine. That influence that she had on him, we see, led to blessings for those present. And that's the same way that it works for us. That when she leads us to her Son, abundant blessings come to us as well. But those words, do what he tells you to do. Those words, again, echo throughout salvation history now in a new way. For us, I think that there's solid words that we can grab a hold of to understand our relationship with Mary, our relationship with Jesus. The wise words, do what he tells you to do. They hit our heart and realize that we do have a higher calling. We do have a higher calling because we are beloved children of God. And in that higher calling, we're able to not only impact our lives, but the lives of people around us. And so as we gather on this Mother's Day, as we celebrate Mary in the church, and as we celebrate Holy Mother Church, who loves us and cares for us, today we want to remember those words of Mary to that lady, which says, do what he tells you to do. Isn't it true that our lives would be so much better if we would only listen to this advice from Blessed Mother? Do what he tells you to do.